Well, kia ora everyone, and welcome to this PAROT webinar. It's the first one of these that we've run, but we had a few requests on the same sort of thing. So I thought I'd see what we could do and see how this goes. And yeah, we'll just kind of see how it goes today. So first of all, just quickly introducing myself. My name's Jake. I went to university, so I get to put some letters behind my name. I taught at Westlake Boys for a couple of years, and then I taught at Kapiti College for over a decade. At the end of last year, I stepped down from my roles at Kapiti College to focus on PAROT and a few other things full-time. I was also the original developer of Assay, and for those maths teachers among you, I also develop NZ Grapher, and I've been working on PAROT since 2021, along with a couple of other people. So today we're aiming to cover student and caregiver weekly emails, staff daily and weekly emails, tutor dashboards, dean dashboards, summary dashboards, attendance dashboards, pastoral notifications, and have a look at some of the star emails you can send from PAROT as well. Basically, it's a whirlwind stop through all of the different little bits of PAROT that might be able to support star inside your school. Now, not all of these will work perfectly for your school, because each school is going to be a little bit different. But the idea behind this is to kind of show you what's available, and then you can pick and choose for what works inside your school. So things for this webinar, as we go through the session today, it'd be great if you can put questions of things that you're not sure about, if you want some more clarifications on things, into the chat. There should be a little chat button in the bottom right hand corner where you should be able to send messages. I'll do my best to answer them as we go, and if you feel like I haven't answered any questions, I'll do that at the end. I'm aiming to be done well before 4:15 because my view is that all of your time is valuable. So if we get through stuff, then we can move on. Yes, this session will be recorded, and I'll share the recording and slides with everyone that's registered after the session. There's been a couple of people that wanted to come along today as well, but weren't able to make it due to clashes and other commitments that they had. So yeah, we are recording, but everything in here will be anonymized. So hopefully that shouldn't be a problem for anyone. So we're going to kick off with the student and caregiver weekly emails. So there's a whole bunch of different sections that you can use in the student and caregiver emails that go out weekly. I've put a link here to all of them. At last count, there are 52 different sections that you can put in. We're just going to focus today on the couple of ones that relate to STAR, which is looking at the days absent inside a term. So far, in this particular one, for this kid called Christian, he'd missed 5 days in term 1, which is that yellow category of worrying. And there's a slightly different version of this, which is looking at what would happen if their attendance rate continued like this for the rest of the term. So far in this year, the student has missed 2.5 days in term 1, but if it continued at that current rate, they're predicted to miss 14 days of school this term, which would be concerning. I'm not a massive fan of the green, yellow, orange, and red colors because for about 5% of the population, they can't tell the difference between red and green, but they're the colors that the Ministry of Education has gone with. So we're just going to stick with those colors, even though they're not perfect. Then at least the messaging is consistent across everything. So that's your staff, that's your student and caregiver weekly emails. There's a whole bunch of other attendance and achievement data that can go out in them, but those are the two ones that are there for the student and caregivers that directly relate to STAR. Someone's asked if you can personalize the PAROT weekly emails. Yes, so in the admin area, there is kind of 52 different sections that you can put in. You can put in your own text at the start and the end and in between sections, all of which you can merge different fields in as well. So that gives you quite a lot of flexibility to customize exactly what you want to put in there. You can put in recognitions and pastoral and NCA results and class efforts and attendance data, and there's a whole lot of things in there. And if you've got ideas of other things that would be useful to disseminate in there, just let me know as well. The next up is the staff daily and weekly emails. So there's two kind of sections to this. There's the daily email and the weekly email. They both end up resulting in looking exactly the same though. So this is a summary for a particular tutor class. So in here, we've got, and this one with how it's turned on is we've got the students at the top here who have been away for the last couple of days, students with question marks that are still outstanding, and then the list of students down the bottom with the number of days they've been away so far this term, and it tells you which term it's basing that on. It's always whatever term we're currently in. So we can see in this form class, the highest number of days any student's been away is 7, but we can see we've got a few kids here that are getting close to that 5-day threshold as well. So the form teacher can keep an easy eye on that. I'd probably recommend it being in the weekly email rather than the daily email, but again, depending on how your school works, you may want it in different parts, different ones there. You can, by default, or by ticking the tick box that says to tutors, you can send it to the tutor teacher, and it just sends the students that are in their tutor group. And the bottom of that screen, the staff daily, weekly emails in the admin area will show you the tutor teachers that it's going to be sending out to and the tutor groups. But you can also add in this little add button here, add in extra groups. And you can add in by ethnicity or year level. So this particular school here has got it set up for the 2 deans in year 9 to get the weekly summary, and same with the 2 in year 10 to get the weekly summary, and the teachers in charge of Māori engagement to get the list of Māori students. Did I put an extra thing in there? No, I didn't. If you press the preview button, you can also preview what that's going to look like. So you can bring up a little screen, and then at the top, you can filter it down to tutor groups or ethnicities or genders, or if your school works on a house-based system, you can do the house as well. So that's the staff daily, weekly emails. Next up is one of the questions that was asked quite a lot is, what can the tutor teachers see? So on the dashboard, I'm logged in here as a tutor. It automatically from Kmart knows who your tutor class is. And so this here is the list of students in my tutor class. I've obviously blurred out all of those names. In the top right corner here, there is a settings button. And the settings that I've chosen on this are star and conditional formatting. So what this has done for me is it shows me the days away in term 1, and as the year progresses, it'll have the days away in the other terms as well. So we've got in this class, we can see this student here has hit 25 days where they've been away so far this term. And so they're in the red attendance category. We've got some in the orange attendance category and a few there in the yellow attendance category. Someone has asked if you've got specific people selected to receive the emails, it won't also send to tutors unless that's ticked. Yes, that's correct. So on this screen here, if the tutors is unticked, it will send to just these people. If the tutor is ticked, it will send to the tutors as well as these people. So next up is the Dean's dashboard. So the Dean's dashboard is pretty similar to the tutor dashboard, except along the top here, you can filter down to particular groups. So this view here, I'm just looking at year 10 students, but you can also filter by ethnicity, by house, by tutor, by student type. So you may want to remove your international students potentially, or your students at Alt Ed, in which case you might just want to put in your RE, your regular students in there. And there's also this total response ethnicity. This is useful for particularly Pacifica students, because if a student identifies as Pacifica and Māori, then in the prioritized ethnicity, they end up in the Māori group, which means they don't then count in the only Pacifica group. So if you use the total response ethnicity, any student that identifies as Pacifica will show up in the as Pacific. And again, I've got the star and the conditional formatting, so I can see here all of the students in year 10 and their days that they've been away, and all of these headings here are clickable. So if you click on any of these headings, because slideshow with screenshots, it won't work for me clicking on it, but it will sort it either ascending or descending, and if you click it again, it will sort it in the opposite direction. So this will give you the students with the most days away or the least days away in a particular term. There's also a whole lot of other columns you can choose to bring in or not bring in on the Dean's dashboard, but today we're just focusing on that star section. The next up is a relatively new area, which is the summary table. So again, this is in the dashboard under summary table. And what we've got here is, in this particular one, I've grouped it by tutor, but you can group it by house or by ethnicity or by there's also now a total option in there, which was just added in today. And you can filter it down to various different things, just like the other ones. And this gives a summary, in this case, by tutor class. So this helps us identify which tutor classes might need some extra support. So I can see there's one tutor class down here where we've got 13% of our students have been away for more than 15 days in term 1. So it might be that this particular teacher needs a little bit more support. This teacher's done a really good job. They've got no outstanding question marks that are more than 5 days old and no students with more than 10 question marks, so the teacher's doing a really good job of following up on the attendance, but there are just a bunch of kids there that aren't turning up. So you could also look at the other end. There's some teachers here where they've got a whole bunch of question marks that are more than 5 days old, but they don't have anywhere near as many students that are away that have hit that 15-day threshold. So the ones that we're viewing there are the follow-up and the star term 1. And again, you can turn on and off the different parts as you see fit, with the idea of, seeing which teachers might need a little bit of extra support there, either with admin or with students that just aren't turning up. The next up is the attendance dashboard. So on the main screen, you need to click on the attendance statistics button. And for today, we're just focusing on these historical ones. Now, this requires you to have done the upload from Kmart for the historical data, but it means that you can do a lot more with it than what you can with the other pages. But the other pages are all there and they work off the directory services data, so that's pretty much always live. But for today, we're just going to focus on these two. So the first one is this historical summary. This gives a real quick breakdown. This is the sort of thing that might be useful to chuck in your board reports. You can just hit copy graph here on the right, and you can copy and paste that into a Google Doc or a Word doc or whatever it is used to share with your board. You can also tick on numbers and percentages, which is quite useful when you're not looking at it live. And then, because when you're looking at it live, you can hover over any of the bars and it will give you some more detail. But if we're looking at this is our ethnicity breakdown here. The darkest bar is the students in that regular attendance category, which is the 90 to 100%, or above 90%. If the student's on exactly 90, then they fall in the 80 to 90% category, because that's how the ministry does their categories. So we can see here our Māori and Pacifica students at this particular school have got slightly lower rates of regular attendance than our European students, and our Asian and our MILA, which I'm often asked what MILA stands for. It's Middle Eastern, Latin American, and African, which isn't other. There are some people who don't fit into any of those categories there as well. Then we've got it split by our genders. So we've got our females, our males, and D is for diverse, for our gender diverse students. So in this particular school, the males have slightly higher regular attendance than the females. And then we've got a year level breakdown here as well. If you're, of course, a school that's a single sex school, which we've got quite a few of, you can just untick the gender option on the left-hand side here and it will hide that from the graph. So we can see here as the year levels progress, there are less students in those regular attending categories. So that's the attendance summary, which gives you a real quick snapshot of the term, and you can choose the different terms here that you want to look at on the left-hand side. The next one up is the detailed statistics. So the detailed statistics give you a a lot more detailed. So by default, this is just giving you a section of the graph that we're looking at just before, but you can then slice and dice this in all sorts of different ways here on the left-hand side. So for example, one of the new bits that we've just added in is the star attendance. So this here is, again, I'm not a massive fan of these colors, but we've got green for the less than 5 days, 5 to 9.5 days, 10 to 14.5 and 15 plus days for our years 9 to 13. And there's a few different options there. Obviously, for overall term tracking, the ministry uses these 90%, 80% and so on categories, but often for, when you're focusing lots on the days away, you might want to be looking at the star attendance numbers there as well. The other thing you can do here is you can compare it over time. So in here, I've taken out the year filter and I've put in term 1, so I can see how my term 1 this year is tracking with all of my previous term 1s. So I've loaded up data, this school's loaded up data for back to 2018. So we can see the data from 2018 through to 2026, and we can see so far this term, which it was updated here this morning at 8:45, so it's pretty up-to-date data. This looks like we're kind of on track to have our best term ever. It's even comparable to 2020 term 1, which is kind of just before, was that just as we went into COVID? I can't remember. In and around that time anyway. Where obviously students who were on COVID leave were counted as present because, of course, they were all learning from home. So that's the attendance dashboards. They kind of give you snapshots of where your data's at. And then the next up, we're going to have a look at the pastoral dashboard. So Kmart automatically creates pastorals for students when they hit the different attendance thresholds. So these are some things in here that can help support that. So in the teacher, on the pastoral, so on the main screen, it's the engagement dashboard. Now, again, in order to view this, you need to have the custom file set up on Kmart to load through the data. And then in the admin area, you just need to tick to enable the engagements, the pastoral data to come through on the teacher dashboard. But once you've done that, you'll have this engagement screen. The engagement screen for schools that have got it turned on also has the recognitions and the class efforts data in this area as well. So in the teacher filter, I've put in the Kmart teacher because that's the one. All of the automatic pastorals that are created with that Kmart as the teacher. And then I've put in this complete and incomplete. So we can see for this school, I'm pretty sure the green is the dark green is complete and the light green is incomplete. We can see that ones from last week, there's a lot less complete, whereas the ones that are a little bit older, there's a lot more complete. And we had a lot more students starting to hit those thresholds when we got to week 4. You can also slice and dice this, so you can look at it by tutor class or by house or by year level to see if there's any, again, tutors or year groups there that are needing a little bit of extra support with following up on those students. I was meant to have a different screenshot in there, but that's okay. Yes. So they're the bits that I've changed, and I'd change that split to week, but you can change that split to all sorts of different things. Because Kmart makes these pastoral notifications automatically, we can also use the pastoral notifications part of PAROT to send summaries of those incomplete pastorals to deans or I'll show you the tutors in a minute. With the particular ones that are incomplete. So in the admin area, under the other tools, other emails/tools, there's this pastoral notifications. Now, you can use this for all sorts of things, but this is just showing you how you can use it to support the stars. So I've put in a title here of incomplete attendance. pastorals for this. It's going to go out with the subject of incomplete attendance. It's going to go from this teacher here, that email and their name, and it's also going to, you can choose which teachers you'd like it to go to. So this one's set up to go to the year 13s of this school, and it's set up to go on a daily basis. You can choose daily or weekly. So this is going to go to the two year 13 deans. We're just going to grab those attendance pastorals, and we're going to grab just the ones that were created by Kmart and are still incomplete. And on the right hand side here, we've filtered it down to just the year 13 students. So this will, the way it's currently set up, on a daily basis, send a email in the morning to the 2 year 13 deans saying, hey, we've got these students here with these pastorals, these attendance pastorals from Kmart that are incomplete. So that would look something like this. So here's the incomplete attendance pastorals on Kmart that need attention, and it gives you a list of the students, the date of the incidents. Kmart has two categories. There's poor, well, I think there might be some more, but there were two that I was looking at today. There's poor attendance, and then there's continual absence, I think is the other one. Poor attendance is when you hit the 5 days, and then continual absence is when you hit the 10, and I think possibly the 15 as well. And so this just shows that there's been no action taken and it hasn't yet been marked as completed. You can also use this to do the same thing for tutor teachers. So you can set it up daily or weekly, and instead of putting in individual codes, you can put in the tutor teacher, and again, the attendance and the incomplete Kmart. And I haven't put any filters on the right hand side here. So it will go to all of the tutor teachers for all of the year levels. If you wanted to just trial it with one, you could put in a year level filter in here as well and say, just do it with your year 10s. And you can add as many of these in as you want. So you could have one here for tutors, and then you could add another one for your year 9s and one for your year 10s, and you can have as many different ones. This is looking at just attendance, but you could also do them for other different pastoral ones that you want to look at as well. And so this is what it looks like for what a tutor might have got this morning. So here's the incomplete pastorals that need attention. So we've got those poor attendance, and then, sorry, it was attendance concern rather than continual absence, sorry. And you can see those ones were all put in by Kmart. So that's the pastoral notifications. Again, that's trying to just make it easy for teachers to keep track of which pastorals have been dealt with and which ones haven't, because dealing with those pastorals on Kmart is really important, because that's, the ministry collects that data on a daily basis of A, when the students hit those different thresholds, but also B, the actions that you've taken as a result of those thresholds. So making sure that you've completed those actions is quite important. The last one is star emails from PAROT. So this was made before the different student management systems had star built in. So there's a link here to using PAROT star attendance guide. It is not a perfect system. It was a system that the school I was working at before, you know, Kmart and Helix built in stuff into their dashboards, into the SMSs, had any star stuff in them. So that was built kind of before that. It's probably better now to use the tools inside the SMSs, but I'm just going to show you this because it may work better inside your particular school's systems as well. So star emails from PAROT. In the admin area, you can come into star attendance and you can enable star, and you can put in a date that you need responses from teachers put in. Then on the tutor dashboard, when the teachers look at the star, it gives them a drop down. And that drop down you can customize to your school. By default, it has these ones in here, which is form teacher letter 1, form teacher letter 1 medical, refer to deans, and no action required. The way we use this is every student who had reached the threshold we asked that the form teachers put in one of those 4 things. So the first one was the form teacher letter, which is just your default, you know, hey, you've reached 5 days absence. If there's anything we can do to support you, let us know. There's also the medical, form teacher medical. Now that letter was slightly softer in wording, because if the form teacher knows that that kid has genuinely been away sick, we're still obliged to do that contact, but we can do it in a way that goes, hey, we know Johnny's been sick. You know, is there anything else we can be doing to help Johnny at the moment? So rather than saying, hey, Johnny needs to be coming to school, we can say, you know, hey, we know Johnny's unwell. What can we do to help? Is there anything else you need from us? And then the third one is refer to deans. So for anyone that was a higher level, we got the deans to be sending those emails, and they require extra data to be put in, so they need to be done manually. They can't be done kind of fully automatic because it needs to reference the previous actions that have been taken. So that was just to refer to deans. And then there's also no action required. We got our form teachers to put that in if they knew there was something going on for that student that meant getting a letter really wasn't the right thing. So for example, if Johnny had been away for the last 5 days, but they had been you know, Nana's tangi, we don't need to send them a letter going, hey, you need to be at school, because we know exactly what's going on. There's good comms with the family. Not sending that letter is the right choice for that particular child. So we asked the form teachers for every kid that was over the 5-day threshold to put that in. The idea being there was that a human was in the loop. It wasn't just going out automatically. It was a human was in that loop, and we would then send them out once a week. So once that was in, from the screen here, the emails button would show up. Now these won't show up until you've got some data put in, but once the data's in there, the emails button will come in, and then you can fully customize this letter. There is a whole lot of merge fields that you can use there. You can choose if you want to go to the student, the caregivers, or the tutor teacher, or all of the above. And you can also get it to send from the form teacher. So any replies go back to the form teacher, or you can get it to send from this particular whatever email address that you've got in there. And then it will give you a list of the students, and you can scroll down and hit send now, and it will send the emails out to the students in that particular category. So this one was the form teacher 1, but there's a drop down there where you can choose the different letters. That's kind of most of the content I wanted to get through today. There's one question in the chat here saying it would be handy to show on the data if a med-cert has been received. I'm wondering if there is somewhere we can tick a box in Kmart to indicate a med-cert has been received so PAROT recognizes it. I don't think there's anywhere inside Kmart where there's a button that would do that. One of the things you could utilize is in the, let's come back to the tutor dashboard, which is this one. In the notes here, when you choose the notes option, it gives you a free text field that you can use. Now, I would only encourage you to use this if you kind of thought about how it's going to work inside your school. But you may want to use that. You could potentially use that tutor notes field to say, you know, med-cert received. And then if you have the note showing as well as the star, you can kind of keep that all in one place. If anyone's got any other great ideas on how to manage that, then please let me, you know, feel free to chuck something in the chat, because I can't think of anywhere great on Kmart at the moment that would show that. Stephen, yes, the session is being recorded, and I will share the recording at the end with everyone that registered. Does anyone else have any other questions? Cool. Well, I'll give you a moment or two to pop that in, but while you're thinking about that, just a couple of quick things. The first one is development planning. On the main dashboard, there is this development planning button. In there, you can vote for the features that you want to see added into PAROT. There's a whole bunch of things that we've had suggested. If you've got things that you think it would be great for PAROT to have, please, you know, flick one of the team an email, and we can look at adding it in. initially, if it's something that's quick and easy, I'll probably just build it in. If it requires a little bit more work, I'll add it into this development planning, and then everyone's able to vote for the things that they would most like to see. The next up is on the PAROT website, there are a whole bunch of guides, and we're constantly adding new things into those guides. I'll share this slides with you, so it'll have a link to the guides, but they're just on the PAROT website there as well. And also, if you found this useful and you think it would be useful if we ran more of these, I'd love to get some feedback on what you think would be most useful to do future webinars on as well. So when I flick you out an email, it'll either be today or tomorrow, I'll put a quick little link in there for just getting some feedback on what else you'd like to see webinars on, if this was helpful, or if it wasn't helpful, what we could do better going forward. Cool. Well, for lack of any other questions, I might leave it there. Thank you so much all for your time today. I appreciate you taking time out on a Monday afternoon to come and hang out with me. If you want to hang around and ask any more questions, you're more than welcome to. I'll hang around for a few more minutes, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop the recording of the session now. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.